everybody. This is June Weiner, otherwise known as the Casual Gourmet, and we've got some different things for you today. And the word casual means not a lot of work, not a lot of trouble, just a lot of good food and flavor. How's that? So I'm starting out today with some orange chicken. It's sort of like a play on Chinese orange chicken. But this beef is, you can either use flat iron beef or boneless short ribs, which is what I used here. And I'm going to start the frying pan just to get it warm. It's not a good idea to put beef in a cold pan, so let me start that first. And also, the recipe says use an oil that's neutral. So I figured, what's a neutral oil? I guess they don't mean olive oil or anything like that, sesame oil. So I'm going to use a little vegetable oil. So it's just like a tablespoon or something. So just using plain old vegetable oil just to coat the bottom of the pan. Let that heat up. Now, here's the secret, I guess. It's called Chinese 5-spice. And because I like to cook so much, I have all these spices in my repertoire, in my drawer. So it's called 5-spice. And you can smell all the different spices, so they're not lying. Okay. It also calls for lots of pepper, which I like. But of course, you know, not everybody in this household likes pepper, but who cares? I'm making this for you. All right, so now I'll coat all of the beef. And it's beef short ribs, and you cut it against the grain. I think it'll be cooked faster that way. It's not the most expensive cut of beef, and that's what makes it good to use for a family, so you're not breaking the bank and you're still getting beef. Not filet mignon, but sometimes it's even more tasty than filet, don't you think? Okay, so I just rolled it around that, maybe a teaspoon and a half of the 5-spice, it's called, Chinese 5-spice. All right. All right, so frankly, I've never made this before because I don't think I've ever made some beef before for the show. So I figured, let's try it. So we'll experiment together, okay? So this goes into the frying pan. Should be hot enough now. Yep, starting to sizzle. Okay, so we'll let that sit there, medium heat. So you don't need a big, beautiful kitchen. I don't have a big, beautiful kitchen, but you do need good tools. And one of those is a good frying pan and a good knife. I think I've told you this before. Make sure you invest in a good, sharp knife. This is a Global Santuco. I've had it for years, and I couldn't live without it. I send it out to be sharpened every once in a while, but by all means, invest in a good knife. Start with that. All right, we're going to let that sit for a little while so it gets brown, sizzle. I'm not going to touch it, and there I am touching it. The other thing I invested in this year was an incredible brand new food processor. My baby, and it's got all the attachments and everything. Of course, it took me 2 days to read through the instructions, figure it out, but now I'm an old hand at it. And I used it for some of the other recipes that we're going to do today. But I talk about joy. It saves you the trouble of chopping up onions, chopping up vegetables. It dices, it slices. It's my baby, and I love it. So yeah, I wouldn't get it for your wife for Valentine's Day, but you know, because those don't go over good. Get something a little more personal. But as an extra thing in the kitchen, it's wonderful to have. It just saves you so much work. And I think that's why people don't like to cook. They just think it's a lot of work and chopping and everything. But if you have all the right equipment, it's easy. And I think it saves you a ton of money too. All right, let's see how our beef is doing. It's getting nice and brown on there, but we're going to leave it alone for another minute or so. You'll notice, well, I got the 5 spice in there, but I didn't put any salt. Just a lot of pepper, because we're going to add soy sauce, and of course that's got a little salt in it. It's salty. So, smells good. These are beef short ribs. If I don't, I usually put them in the slow cooker, and those are delicious. But this was a different thing I wanted to try because it's fast. So maybe a weeknight, you know. All right, let's see how this is doing. Okay, so where did I find this recipe? Well, I have about 200 cookbooks that I'm crazy about. And sometimes I get Christmas gifts or birthday gifts or I wouldn't say Valentine's gift, but sometimes I get a gift that's like, like a candle or anyway, I said, people, you know, it's easy. You want to buy something for me? Buy me a cookbook, any kind, whatever. I love them. Or a can of tennis balls, of course. But I have so many cookbooks that I love to sit through them. I go to the library and get a book, of course, but then a lot of times I'll just take a cookbook to bed to read and say, wow, I hadn't seen that recipe. I'm going to try that. And this was one of them. And it was easy, and I thought you might like it because you can try this at home. Okay? All right, let's see how we're doing here. Of course, beef shouldn't, I like medium rare beef. I think that's the way you should cook it. But, you know, you've got to make sure that it's cooked. So, oh, how much did I use? Let's see. Maybe 1.5 pounds. Maybe. Yeah, so the recipe called for that. All right. All right, so here's the secret, okay? And I would have never thought of using this, but it's orange marmalade. And it says use about 3 tablespoons of orange marmalade and put it right in with the beef. There's 1. I mean, you can measure if you want, but after all these years of cooking, I can figure it out. So, yeah, a little more. Give it a little sweetness. Okay. And then 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. This is where the salt comes in. 1, 2, okay. So let's mix all of that in. What we're looking for here is to glaze the beef a little bit. So it's a little watery right now, and I want to mix up the marmalade here. So we're going to let it boil down a little bit, a couple minutes. But of course, marmalade's got the orange bits in there, the zest from the orange, and that's all the way through here. So we'll let it boil down and thicken up a little bit, so it'll make a nice glaze for the beef. I mean, this is easy. Maybe Danny will like this. Just don't tell him about the pepper, okay? So while that's cooking, because it's almost ready, believe it or not, I'm going to get a platter to put it on. Okay, one of the things I like to do, besides go shopping for cooking utensils, I'd rather do that than shop for jewelry, as I love plates and platters and just cooking stuff. So I came across this, on sale of course, it was wonderful. And I don't know how the beef is going to look in there, but let's try it, okay? But before it's done, this is pretty thick now. Nicely glazed. Now this is orange juice that I squeezed right out of an orange. If you're going to make something that calls for lemon juice or orange juice, by all means use the real thing. Don't talk to me about a bottle of lemon juice. That doesn't work. So it's probably maybe, you know, a little bit, a couple of teaspoons of orange juice. We'll keep the rest to pour on afterwards. And guess what? It called for either scallions, because that's very Chinese, the green onions, or it said use basil. Well, we know Dan doesn't like onions, so I figured I'd throw the basil in. So that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to save a few, whoops, there it goes on the floor. But I'm going to save a few leaves for garnish. So we just mix in the orange juice off the heat here. Now in a perfect world, I would have made some steamed rice with this and serve it with the steamed rice. But here it goes right into my beautiful platter. Here's the other thing. Forgot to take my oranges out of the freezer here. You know we're all about presentation. So it's nice when you put something in there that you used in the dish. When you present it, people get the idea that, oh my, this is going to taste orangey. Well, no kidding. So you put little oranges around there. I would have had the rice here, but we got another side dish we're going to make. So maybe that's a lot. Maybe just a couple. So I love basil, don't you? Okay. Now, what good is it if you don't taste it, right? All right, so I'm going to get my little spoon here and just taste the gravy. Take a little piece. It's hot, of course. Mmm. Wow. Something like you've never tasted before. I don't know if it's the spice, but I tell you what, need a little more pepper. Don't tell Dan. It's very complex. And how long did that take? A few minutes? There you go. Steamed rice, and we're in business. Round two, people. I was going to make some rice with the beef. However, I came across this recipe. Actually, I've used this for years, and it's very tasty. And so I figured I would add this as our side dish here. And I prepped everything before you came. And so I've got like maybe 6 ounces of carrots, but I ran them through my trusty food processor, my best friend now. And this is what it came out like. So it's like just grated carrots, fresh carrots, of course. And I'm going to use orzo. If you've never cooked with orzo, it's like rice-shaped pasta. It's very tasty. It cooks real fast, too. So what I'm going to do is add 2 tablespoons of butter to my pan. I already started the pan. So there's 1, 2. Here's what they look like, you know. So the butter is melting. So you add the carrots to that. And the orzo. We want to make sure that the orzo is nice and golden. So let it cook for a few minutes. Are one of the vegetables that Danny likes. So we have carrots a lot. Next time you come, I'm going to make you some shredded beet and shredded carrot latkes. Those are like potato pancakes, only with beets and carrots. And boy, those are good. But today, we're doing orzo and carrots. Now they're getting a little brown. A few more minutes. Now, after that, I'm going to add, well, it was 1½ cups of chicken broth added to 1 3/4 cups of water. So I just had a bouillon cube. I didn't have homemade chicken stock, but the Knorr's is pretty good, so that's what I have. So it's not intensely chicken. It's mostly water. But it'll give it some flavor. I suppose you could use vegetable bouillon cubes if you are vegetarian. We're not around here. Certainly not with Dan, that's for sure. He'd eat, what, 3 vegetables? Okay. That's getting nice and toasty a little bit. So what I'm going to do is add the water and the chicken broth to that. Yep, sizzle, sizzle. And one garlic clove that I chopped up. And you put that in there. I mean, garlic makes everything taste better, like the butter. I had a little more, but dropped some on the floor. But I had plenty, so plenty for this recipe. Yes, I'm a little klutzy. Okay, so I'm going to mix that up, but then you let it boil until it boils down. Okay, so while my carrot orzo is cooking, I'm going to show you a simple little dessert. I'm not great at baking, although I do. And some may say I'm pretty good at it. I just don't like it as much as cooking. But I do need to come up with some desserts once in a while. Here's something easy. You can find these little pastry shells. They're all put together, and they come in a little box. And I bought some lemon curd. You can find lemon curd where the jellies are sold. Also, I found this, I think it was at Home Goods in the gourmet section, and this is nice and tart. I like lemon too. So, okay, so fill up a little tart like this. I guess it's a play on lemon meringue pie, although you make meringue to squirt on here, but I've got whipped cream, which is just as good, I guess. So little lemon tarts. Okay. Let me go check on my rice and stir it, but I'll show you what to do with that afterwards. All right, this has a little ways to go, so we'll keep going with the lemon tarts. Now, I've made these for appetizers too. Naturally, I don't put sweet stuff in it, but you can put like maybe a little ham salad and a little pickle in there. Like a little diced pickle. You could put some salsa in there, a little basil on it, tomatoes. Anything, actually. How about some crab meat? So, I mean, you can make an elegant appetizer or an elegant dessert with just these little buggers here. That's going to use up the lemon curd. Well, actually, I have I'm playing tennis in the morning, and we're playing at home. And when the visiting team comes over, we usually have lunch for them afterwards because by the time it's over, it's like lunchtime. So we always are the fine hosts and have a little lunch. So I'm thinking maybe I'll save these and bring them to the tennis luncheon tomorrow. All right, couple more. Look at it. I have used almost the whole jar. I didn't realize that it would take almost the whole jar. Okay, one more stir of my orzo. Still has a ways to go. Couple of burned ones in there, but that'll give it flavor. Okay. So, you could pipe some meringue on there if you wanted to, or do what I do. Simple as best. Watch this. Yeah, let me move this so you can see this. What would you do to garnish this with? Well, I'd put lemon. Well, not a lemon. I mean, I'd put little slices of lemon around it, but maybe a little cherry on the top, one of those maraschino cherries. What do you think? This may not last for the tennis people. That's all right. I want something else. So what do you think of that? All right. Well, need to try it. Crunchy. The lemon curd is very tart, which is what I like. Takes one to know one. Just kidding. Well, here we are now. The rice, well, it's not rice. The pasta and carrots have all been absorbed. And so this is what it looks like. And it actually looks like rice pilaf, but it's orzo. It's pasta. Okay? Now, you got to add a little flavor to that. So, I'm adding some shredded Parmesan Romano cheese, and I mixed it in with some rosemary. Rather than have two separate things and have to do 2 bowls in the dishwasher, so I've got them all mixed. But this is shredded Parmesan Romano and rosemary, fresh rosemary. There we go. So I'm going to put that in. This makes it really creamy too. So we want that to absorb it. It's almost like a risotto, I would think. And of course, it calls for chopped onions. And I'm going to use them because I like them and I know you will too. So, little chopped green onion in there. Now I tasted this and it needs a little salt, so we'll add a little salt to that, just a little bit. Nothing's good without salt. You need to flavor it, you need to season it. And pepper. Okay. This probably would go good with you know, say you're in a hurry for night. You pick up one of those little chickens at the supermarket. They're already cooked. They're rotisserie chickens. And this is a side dish. I mean, how easy is that? I sound like Ina Garten doing, how easy is that? Okay. I don't have the Hampton house behind me. Just kidding. All right, so I'm going to find a nice bowl to put this in. So let's do that. This would go good with steak or fish or anything. And the cheese. And unlike Danny, I like onions. I like scallions. I like leeks. I like all onions. Tasty. Really good. So let me put my little rosemary on there, and I'll show you what it looks like. How pretty is that? All right, I think you're going to think I'm crazy, and maybe I am, but you're going to like this, and I bet you go home and try this. I won't explain it until I do it, so pay attention, okay? You're going to need 2 cake mixes, but one of them has to be angel food cake, not white cake, no other cake. It's got to be angel food cake. And I found this at the Market Basket, and they do sell angel food cake, although it was way up in the top shelf. And then any other kind of cake you want. Lemon, chocolate, yellow, whatever. Of course, I happen to like chocolate, so here's what you do. You take 1 box of chocolate. What is she doing? You'll see. And then you take 1 box of angel food. It has to be angel food. Now, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a chemist or anything, so please don't ask me why, but this is just the way it is. So you mix these 2 guys together. Little fussy there. Okay. All right. I'll put my scissors away. Okay. So we're going to mix these two guys together, okay? Make sure they're all combined together. You got a big bowl to do this, of course. And then you need to put it into an airtight container. All right, so you can have lots of it left over. But for right now, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it. Okay. Just remember the term 3, 2, 1. Okay. I've got a tablespoon here. You grab a mug, my cute little penguins here, and you take 3 tablespoons of the mix. 1, 2, 3. 2 tablespoons of water. 1, 2. Okay. Now let me get a little, I usually use a fork because it mixes it up better. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like here. Just mix it up. You're going to have the best tasting piece of chocolate cake you ever had. Come on, June. Yeah, really, wait till you see. I've given this recipe to lots of people, and there's a lot of parents and grandparents that do it with their kids. I think we did some mug cakes once, but that was with flour and egg and all that stuff. So this is what it looks like. And the 3 is the mix, the 2 is the water. The 1 is the 1 minute in the microwave. 1 minute. I'm going to get a little plate to put it on. You won't believe it. So while that's cooking, I'll fill up the airtight container. I think it's going to fit. Okay, yes, it will fit. Another bowl to wash, but we got enough for a lot of cake. All right, watch this. Whoops. Okay. Here's what it looks like out of the microwave. Now what you do is run your fork around the bottom of it. And you put it on the plate. Now, I just put the whipped cream away. So we could put whipped cream, you could put fruit, you could put frosting, although it's kind of hot right now, or powdered sugar, whatever. But I'm going to put some whipped cream on it. Because we have it, and you know how good that is. All right. Okay. It's hot, so be careful. But it's a piece of cake. And you know, when you're sitting down watching TV at night, you wish you had something sweet after dinner. Oh, wouldn't you have a piece of cake right now? Bingo. Awesome. You could shave a little chocolate on here if you wanted to be fancy, but I hope you try these recipes. You can email me at yahoo.com, galacruz@yahoo.com for these recipes if you like, or just call the cable station and they'll put you in touch with me. But I'm all for easy, but good and fresh. So I'm signing off until the next time. I'll have more surprises for you then. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.